Alright, hey, it is Jake07102, and this is texture modding for Kingdom Hearts 3. So, a couple things you're going to need. U-model for opening and extracting the files from the game, some type of way to package it. I'm using Unreal Pack, Unreal Engine 4.17.2, that's the one the game was ran on, and of course, your Kingdom Hearts 3 game itself, in addition to some type of file you can use to edit .tga files, such as GIMP or Photoshop. So I want to open UModel here first, find the pack directory for my game, so Kingdom Hearts content, packs, not the mods, because that's my mods, I don't need to touch that. My packs folder, select, and do that. It's going to ask you for an AES key. I have mine already written here. You can find that on Discord or Twitter somewhere as well. I'll link those. All right. I have both keys just in case. Only going to need the one. So, all these folders, right? Where do I go? I'm going to open up the OpenKH website here. They have a lot of different stuff, and their Kingdom Hearts pawns are really good. So, I want to edit the Starlight Keyblade. You're going to find two. This one here, the DBO, not the one you want. You want the second one here at the bottom with the SO. Anything that has SO is the text you want to edit. So I'm going to go find that. I'm going to go into games, already open, character, weapon, and go to SO. Is that 150, right? SO. Yeah, 150. All right. All the way down to 150. Open that up. I want to go into model, mat 0. And then if I open that here, once again, if it asks you to view, go to 4.17, same as the Unreal Engine that you're going to use later. Open that up, and there we go. That's the texture for the Starlight Keyblade, the one I want to edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this folder, click Export Folder Content, put this someplace you want to remember it. I'm going to write it here as what I have here, so I'm going to make a new folder real quick. Name that Starlight. And drop it in there. I want to make sure it's a .tga folder, or file, excuse me. Alright, and that's all allocated. So I can close out of Unreal UModel right now. Don't need that open. And then I want to go to where I have that file. So I'm going to my mod files, unedited Keyblade, Starlight, and then it's going to open those same files open later. The shaders don't matter. Don't worry about that. So character, web, SO, MDL, mat 0. My TGA folder is right here. So open that up. I use GIMP, so it's really simple to use. And then all I'm going to do is just, let's change the handle and the hilt. So let's select this here. Let's go with the red for this color here. So change all of the shaft and the keyblade parts itself to red. Change the handle here to more of a darker type of black color. So let's go with that. Alright. Export my file here to files, edited files. Alright. When you're going to repackage these files later, which I'm going to get to next, they have to have the same file name as the original file. So I like to keep the name, and then I'll put what I'm doing in parentheses, like red Starlight, and then export that file. Turn off, or I have compression turned off. I believe it helps, but I'm not too sure. So export that, close that up. Don't need to save my changes because I already exported it. Alright, now open up Unreal Engine. Alright, make a new project here. Make sure it's blank and that my starter content is off. Don't want any starter content. Name that, so I'm going to name it Red Starlight, create my project, and let it create itself. All right. So I'm gonna do is take the same file path I had here originally, the one I opened up in UModel, and just copy it over. So my content is already here, so I'm just gonna do what part's next. So character, uh, wep. If I'm using a player character, I would put PC. If it's an NPC like Kyrie or Riku or Roxas, I would obviously put NPC. Wep, whatever the ID is for whatever you're editing. My keyblade here is WSO50. So let me make this here. And then NDL and mat 0. So any textures you edit is always going to have this format. So it's going to be content, character, wep, PC, NPC, whatever the ID is, and it's always going to have MDL and mat0. So I'm going to take that texture that we just edited and drag and drop that in. Edit files, the Starlight, right? Yeah, what I just made, and drag and drop that in. So there we go. There's the texture. I'm going to rename it and get rid of all that stuff I put in parentheses so it's only the ID. All right. Now, not done yet. You got 2 more textures to install. So, when you open it up in UModel, it had some other 2 TGA files here. So this one is bunch of like reds, blues, and greens, and it essentially tells the game where to texture each little color. So that's obviously useful. And then this one is, I believe, like the mapping for it. This is important. If you try to install the textures out these, nothing changes. So you want to make sure that these 2 textures are also in here. These don't need to be edited or touched at all. You can drag and drop them from the vanilla. The .mat and the .text, don't worry about it. So you're good there. All right. After you have all of these touched, you want to go into settings, project settings, packaging, little pack file, unclick it, and X. Now, you could cook the file. I haven't been cooking it, I've been packaging it, so you can do it this way as well. I'm going into package project, Windows 64-bit, and then choose wherever you want to package it. I have it all in the same spot for packaging. So I'm going to put this in red Starlight. Put this in, select my folder, and let it package. And that's everything you got to do in terms of modding for everything. That extra shader folder that the game normally gives you instructed in UModel, so it'll be like content and then we'll say character and shader. Don't need the shader file. These 2 files here you have to have, otherwise it won't show up. And that's about it. Alright, already unpackaged, so I can X out of that. And then I'm going to open that folder that I just made with all my stuff in it. So modded files, edited, ready to pack my red Starlight. Okay, you're going to come into a Windows no editor and all this other stuff. So open this. This is the same name as the project you just did, right? Open that. And then the content is where the files are. So it's kind of the same file path they did, right? So content, character, da-da-da-da-da. And then all these are the package files you just made. Don't touch these because you just made the textures and put them in. So you don't need to touch these. So everything other than the content folder you can get rid of. So I'm going to cut my content folder real quick. Put that here, which I'll get to in a minute. And delete everything else. Alright, so I'm going to make a folder Name it Kingdom Hearts 3. This is mandatory, has to be in there. Drag my content folder into that, and that's it. So the full file path, whatever you want to name your mod, Kingdom Hearts 3, content, character, weapon, NPC or PC, ID, MDL, Mat0, and wherever the textures are. After that, I'm going to take that ahead and I'm going to package it. So I'm going to open up my packager. I use Unreal Pack. Take this here, drag and drop towards this create pack.bat. And there we go. That's my pack folder for my mod. So I'm going to go into my mods folder. If there isn't one there, just make one. Already tried this before, and that's where I remembered that you'd still need those 2 textures because I goofed. So X out of that. Red Starlight, drop that in there. And then that's all you gotta do. You're good to go. So just to show it works as well as for myself, because I like red, I'm gonna open up my, come on, my Remind here real quick, launch this. Load up any save file of your choice. This one, Kingdom Key I worked on, Elemental Coder, and there we have it. There's that Starlight I made. So if you go into the shot lock, you can see it's all red, and the hilt itself is a black color. And that's all you gotta do. For character textures, right? For Sora, same thing applies. The hair and the eyes currently can't be edited because they're in material, so they can't be exported either. For other NPCs, it'll be the same method. You would just want to go in, change the textures, package it the same way, and that's it. I personally use GIMP for changing my things. You can also use Photoshop, but I, don't have the money for it, so I don't use it. And that's it.